he says Diana's, witnesses said Diana was still alive. And then she's not. And by the time she got to the hospital, she's dead. And it took ages to get to the hospital.
So delayed intentionally.
Yeah, it took ages to get to the hospital. And when they were questioned about why it took so long, they said, well, basically we had to free her from the car. Well, witnesses said actually she was free. She was lying on the back seat, and part of her was outside the door. So she wasn't trapped at all. And she had an injury, if the official story of the injury is true, which needed urgent surgery to stem the blood flow. But it took ages to get. It was about an hour and 25 minutes to get them to the hospital, where they said they tried to save her, but according to the post-mortem, she was dead before that. And so everything happened to put her in that position with no security, and to make sure she didn't survive. And the Pont d'Alma Tunnel, go into it now, but the Pont d'Alma Tunnel means basically bridge or passage of the moon goddess. And of course, the ancient goddess Diana was an ancient moon goddess, going back to places like Babylon. And again, in The Biggest Secret, I've looked at Diana's assassination. I mean, it was from a ritualistic point of view, and it's incredible, the detail of the ritual around her death.
Why did she have to go?
Well, I think you've always got this in the background if you go deep enough in the rabbit hole, that they do ritualistically kill people for ritualistic reasons. But if you look at it on a 5 sense here and now level, she knew literally and symbolically where the bodies were buried of the British royal family, and she showed in a Panorama interview that she was prepared to talk about it. She was angry. She had a great public support. She couldn't do anything without the media were there, and so she had tremendous potential power to destroy the royal family. She really did at that time, because the royal family were incredibly unpopular then, and especially in the aftermath of her death, they were very unpopular. But that was okay. They knew that was going to happen. But the source of their potential destruction was no longer alive, and of course has now been basically forgotten and not disappeared from history, but no one really talks about her anymore. And the royal family is still with us. But at that time, the very monarchy itself was starting to rock. It was starting to be a journalist's spine, vibrating and
Mr. Jelly,
turning to jelly. Yeah. So she was someone who knew a hell of a lot. And see, when I spoke to her friend. And I've still got the interview on tape, one of those old, cassette tapes. It was very clear that the Panorama interview was like the tip of 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 the iceberg of what she could destroy them with. And I had another story relating to this. I went to see, I spent many visits with this Zulu shaman, Credo Mutwa. And when I first met him, he said to me that he didn't tell me who it was to start with, and then later, when we got more friendly and very close, he told me. He said that Princess Diana called him, because Diana was very much into the esoteric. That's why she was, friend of this alternative healer. He said, she called me. She said, to me, I'm calling you from a store. And so Credo said, well, Princess Diana of England is calling me from a store. This has got to be a joke, basically. And he didn't believe her. But what this lady, her friend, told me is whenever Diana wanted, because she knew everything that she did was bugged and everywhere was bugged. Whenever she wanted to talk absolutely privately, she would go into a Marks, I think it was a Marks and Spencer store, and she'd use the phone incognito as she could, because then she would be trying to avoid the bugs and everything, because she wanted privacy. So I said to Crow, "What'd she say?" He said, she said to me, basically, "I've got something to reveal that is absolutely fantastic." It was about the royal family. And she wanted to meet him, but they never met because, she died. But she knew a hell of a lot. And we could talk forever about this, but, I have gone into it in the books, and, a lot of people still laugh at me because I say that actually the royal family is not human, not totally human. I say they are hybrids. They have a human energy field, which is the one that we see, and they have a non-human energy field, which is the one that we don't see. And during the rituals, they shift. I spoke to so many people around, that have seen this and have taken part in rituals where they've seen it. It's all in my books. And this friend of Diana told me the same. And she didn't know at the time that I'd got lots of other sources who'd said the royal family are not human. They're hybrids, part human, part not human. And that's where the bloodlines come from. That's where the royal bloodlines come from. Why are royal bloodlines considered so special? The divine right to rule, where does that come from? It's because they're hybrids. They're not like the rest of us, right? And so I didn't tell Christian Fitzgerald, this lady, the friend of Diana, Christian Fitzgerald, her name was, any of this. And yet she told me that the royal family are not human. And Diana knew that. That, to me, because Credo Mutwa talks about the fact that there are people running the world that he calls the Chittahuri who are not human but seem to be. Right? So you can see why, very strongly in theory, Diana, who knew this, would contact him saying, "I've got something basically massive to reveal. I want to talk to you about it." Well, otherwise, would you want to talk to him about it? But he was someone who talked about that. It's all in my books. I did you can get it on the internet, I think. A 6-hour interview with Credo Mutwa about this non-human element from his Zulu shamanistic point of view.
To orchestrate that much death and destruction, definitely some reptilian psychopathy going on in there. But let's get on to the next question. Some people have referred to you and Alex Jones as the biggest, most famous conspiracy theorist in the world. I've watched your career rise. I've watched Alex's career rise. Love the stuff he did early on with John Ronson, going into Bohemian Grove. He's interviewed some fascinating characters like Freeway Ricky Ross, who I've interviewed for one of my books. What do you think about Alex getting deplatformed, and what's all that about?
Well, first of all, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy researcher, which is a different thing. And it's interesting, Shaun, that the term conspiracy theory and conspiracy theorist came into widespread use because of the CIA. In the 1960s, when they were trying to discredit people that didn't believe that a single bullet went through several people and that killed President Kennedy, the single bullet theory, that they were trying to discredit them. They wrote to major media organizations or contacted them. You can see the document on the internet in the 1960s, urging them to use the terms conspiracy theorists and conspiracy theorists to discredit people who were questioning the Kennedy assassination.